Hey guys, how we doing today? So today we're kind of going to be covering what you could do to kind of customize alerts, so you don't have to deal with the regular JavaScript alerts if you want some customization when building websites. So just real quick, let's cover um, what we can do with that. First one we're going to look at is a standard alert through Sweet Alert. So it looks like that as compared to your normal JavaScript alert. And this is going to be a warning alert that has a secondary alert that kind of tells you have deleted your file. So your file's been deleted. Then this one's going to be a warning without a secondary alert. Next, we're going to move on to a Pokemon themed one. So Pikachu appears, you can throw a Pokeball. Got you, Pikachu was caught. And then we're going to search for a movie. So if you're kind of overwhelmed right now because of the speed, I just went over that. Sometimes you just have to relax, do a barrel roll. Okay, so that one was actually just a Star Fox one that I was able to write with basic JavaScript, and I found it through one of their examples, kind of built off of that, and then just tied in what I needed to. And I'm going to show you how to kind of do the stuff. And I built that button just for that joke. So you need to be laughing. Um, but we're going to kind of, in all seriousness, I know that was real fast. I just wanted to show you the different styles and what all is kind of possible and what we're going to cover today. And then kind of go over, we're going to actually go over Sweet Alert and do all this. I just want to kind of, so you don't have to keep watching the video if it's not relevant for you. I want to show you everything that's in there, what we're going to cover today. If you're okay with normal alerts, then you probably don't want to, spend time doing this. I like to have more customization abilities when I'm building websites and games and everything. And this kind of gives you an ability to, if you do have to use an alert, to customize it. So real quick, I'm actually going to kind of show you the code for what this actually. So this is our code, and kind of the way I built this out was just standard timers. And as you can see with your standard JavaScript alert, it's alert, and you're probably thinking, okay, well, how hard is this to implement? Sweet Alert, and it's literally taking the first two letters of alert. So we're minimizing this to an AL, shortcut for alert, and then for Sweet, it's just SW, and that makes it Sweet Alert. So SWAL, and then it's the exact same thing. Everything else functions the same. The only difference between a JavaScript alert and a SWAL, to get it to function to where it commands everything to plug it into other functions, is literally from switching alert to SWAL, and it's that simple. And one of the other things I kind of want to cover, obviously, is what all you can do. You're going to be able to put titles in there, your text, and it comes with four icons that are included, warning, success, and all that. And it gives you kind of a fun, a check mark that actually is animated, the warning with the red X, all that. So real quick, we're going to comment out that one. And I'm just going to comment out all these buttons so we can look at them one at a time and go through them using our actual Sweet Alert page. So bear with me here just for a second. I guess actually, since I'm starting with the first one, I can just go all the way down here, comment them all out instead of doing one by one. I'm going to save that. And now, before we go to the Sweet Alert page, just so you kind of understand what's going on, the basics of this timer. So we have a function that's tied into a button, and I did all this in HTML. If you wanted to pull this into a separate JavaScript file, that's fine. You just build another script, obviously at the end of your body, that ties it to your JavaScript page. Just for kind of the easy part of doing this video, I just ran the script in my HTML. So this is all your Java in the script tag. If you're kind of wondering how Java's working on HTML, it's because we have that script in there. So then for the button on click, so this is actually our button, and this is what makes it appear onto our web page because this is still the HTML. But on click, it runs the function. And then the text of our button is in here, so you can change it to, click me, whatever you want to, and then you end your button. So on click, that function's activated, and this function is where we're doing all of our timers that we want to build. So inside of here, kind of what's going on with the function, why is timer? So we do a set timeout. So that's going to activate this function that we're writing after it times out. So the function is going to activate, and it's going to cause, so what's in, this is what the function is. So on your set timeout, it activates this function, which this is what your function is. So we just have a simple sweet alert, hello. And this is going to, outside of here after this comma, it's going to be in milliseconds how fast the function activates. So just remember, it's always 1,000 milliseconds for any seconds you want. So example I like to use is, think of it like a paycheck. You look at it and you think it'd be a lot greater with another 3 zeros. So if you want 3 seconds, you just throw another 3 zeros on there, make it 3,000. So just take how many seconds in your head. If you're like, I want it to be 7 seconds, just know, throw 3 zeros on there. So if you want 30 seconds, 3 zeros, that's 30,000, and that's going to be your milliseconds. And that's why it activates after 3 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And what we want to do now is refresh this, and you'll see after 3 seconds, just that's our standard sweet alert. So pretty much it does look like a standard JavaScript at this point. I mean, there's not a whole lot of point in doing this if, I mean, it is going to make your website or anything you build, if you're building a game, a web browser game, stand out because it's not the standard box. It's got angles to it. It's obviously different. It's got a kind of a button that stands out a little bit better. But really, I guess for me, what makes Sweet Alert worth kind of learning and messing with is what you can and endpoint do with it. So let's kind of get into, before we get into what all we're going to do with it, let's look at how you can even get started. So you're just going to go to sweetalert.js.org. It's going to bring you to the Sweet Alert page. You can get to them. You can get to their GitHub. They've got guides, documents. If you want to, you can donate to them. You can install these, but I always like using CDNs. And you just go down here, you get started, and it'll walk you through installation. Like I said, I usually always try to go the CDN route. Okay, so just keep scrolling down. It starts the getting started section. I mean, you can click on it to get it there, but if you're trying to get around to different places, like if you're looking at your examples and then you're ready to deploy it into your code, you can jump back up to installation, grab your CDN, and go from there. So a couple things, just kind of show y'all, like, for example, you can customize the text. So if we look at, for example, are you sure once deleted, you will not be able to recover the measure? That one we looked at, that's a warning that's activated, if somebody's trying to delete, say, a file or delete something off. Say you had a website built similar to Facebook or some other social media platform, and they're wanting to delete their profile. This is kind of that warning. It's like, are you sure you want to do this? And then they can click yes or no. And if they do, it says, okay, you deleted it, and you can get that success icon because they obviously meant to do it. So, and then what we can do here, if we go down here, let me see if I think it's back up here. Where's the other warning? Okay, so and see, you can read through this and it'll kind of give you an example. I'm just going to kind of show you. This will let you, if you read through all this, this will explain to you how to do every single thing you could want to do and how to do it, why to do it. I'm not going to really get into that. This is kind of just a brief overview of kind of accessing this stuff. But for example, this is a warning. So instead of cancel, you have oh no's because you don't want to cancel, or you have okay. And they didn't, they have, in this example, we don't have any of the stuff tied in for the icons or any of that. So let's look at this real quick. And so what if we didn't want to say, oh, no's, we wanted to say something else for so let's do, say, no, not really. Save this and go ahead and pull it up here, refresh. So, whatever, obviously we have it activating on a button. You can tie it in to activate on something else. So like on a delete, on an attempt to do something. So just for kind of showing you how to customize the stuff, click it, and after a second, it's like, are you sure you want to really do this? And you can see it's edited our button, and it says no, not really. And it's still going to give you the same result. It's still going to give you, when you click on it, it still does the same thing. Let's move into, so this is going to require some Java and all that. I'm not going to get into like the Java. I'm just giving you an example of how in-depth this stuff can get with SweetAlert. But let's go ahead and look at this real fast. So when it's activated, it pops up with the text, a wild Pikachu appeared. What do you want to do? You have 3 buttons here. So if you run away, it says, okay, you got away safely. If you click throw a Pokeball, it'll give you a success icon. The title gotcha, Pikachu was caught. But if you try to defeat, it's going to give you the Pikachu fainted. You gained 500 experience. So with SweetAlert, you can add more buttons, and then with Java, you can get it to do, you could get it to chain alerts and all that. The other cool thing about SweetAlert is it is Ajax compatible. And they'll kind of explain it here, but basically SweetAlert is promise-based, so is Ajax functions, so that are promise-based. So basically, because they're both promise-based, in a way, I'm kind of trying to simplify it, but just read through this and it'll explain it all. But what this allows you to do is to actually access certain APIs, and APIs are just basically databases. So to give you kind of an example, when we went through, okay, this button, if you remember this, it was a movie button, and I just clicked search. So it returned a value. It didn't do anything because I didn't input anything in there. So let's put in a movie. All right, let's get it to fail. For example, I'll just type in a bunch of gibberish. I hope that doesn't return anything. If there's a movie like that, actually, I'd probably watch it. So it's going to look, no movie was found on the API. So what this is doing is it's actually accessing the iTunes API and looking for those movies. And that's how you're going to actually, it's going to pull an image and everything. So let's do their suggested La La Land. And so it pulls up the top result, La La Land. Okay. So what if we do Terminator? So it pulls up the Terminator. So obviously you get the drift. It allows you to add stuff like this to your website and your alerts that can actually access APIs. Well, let's look at what if we do Star Wars, okay? So top result is Star Wars The Force Awakens. So it chose that as the best result. You can edit, like I said, not getting into real deep Ajax API stuff. You can, with Java and all that, and your Ajax calls, you can control, for example, how this hits the API and then what it'll display. So you can completely customize this. If you wanted this box to pop up and show several movies or every movie it finds, or for example, if you want to filter it a different way, you can. So this is just kind of showing the way they have it set up is it's going to return the top result. And I don't know if this is the poster image for like when it was released in the theater, or if it's like the DVD image, whatever image they have up there, it's pulling that. Kind of just depends on the API and what you're telling it to pull. So for preview, so let's try. All right, so obviously if I just type in Star Wars, that was the best result. But let's type in Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. And so it'll pull that up. So that's kind of showing you how in-depth Sweet Alert allows you to do, and kind of why I think it's really worth looking at this. And it's not that hard to get involved and learn. As long as you got an understanding of JavaScript, you can pull this off. And not a real super in-depth understanding of JavaScript either. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm essentially just getting started with coding and my career with coding and understanding all this stuff. I mean, I'm 7 weeks into my code camp and I've done some stuff previously. So I'm not an expert, and I'm kind of out, and I was able to build that by reading this and looking at it. I was able to build that barrel roll button you saw in the intro video that I did and cause it to have a secondary alert. So some of you, especially if you've been coding for a while, this stuff, you're going to be able to implement this without even sweating. You're going to know what to do, and you're going to be able to build a lot of amazing things with this. And it goes on. I'm kind of not going to really get into it, but if you go down here, it'll talk about. Let me see if I can find it again. Using libraries and all that. So if you're wanting to kind of do that, you are going to have to download this. They've got a download that you do for that. But to give you kind of an example, let's see if I can get, okay. So you write something, it tells you what you typed. Oh yeah, so you can build stuff like this too. How was your experience getting help with the issue? So obviously you're not satisfied with it. It was or you're happy. Thanks for your rating. You rated us 3 out of 3. So just it gets more in depth. But that's kind of just an overview of the stuff that you can do with it. Just want to kind of give you the overview of another tool that's available. Let's see if there's any other examples. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And just it was kind of everything I wanted to cover. Just look at this, kind of get your idea down, um, start implementing in your sites and whatever you're building, and just have fun with this.